Hey, Natasha.
Hey, Claire.
Happy New Year.
I know. Only a little bit into the 2026 year.
I know it's February at the time that we're recording this, but January is like the Monday of the year, so I feel like we can just skip over that and it's okay, right?
And it's like so long yet so short, like so much
Yes,
happens in January, but then you're like, how is it February?
exactly. Yeah, it was like January 52nd when it became February. And so we're good now. And we've been focused so much on SEEC, which is a conference that we love to go to every year. And that's the Space Exploration Educators Conference at NASA Johnson Space Center in Houston. And we just got back. I think it was amazing. And I want to talk more about that. But I do have a story for you, real quick.
Oh, okay.
So we're starting a new season of the STEM Space podcast. We have over 200 episodes, and we're changing things up a little bit, and we have a lot to talk about. But there's a couple things that I want us to look forward to every time we record a message now, an episode. And that is, I'll be highlighting an engineer or a scientist that we can talk about, either current or in history, that you can take directly to a classroom if you're listening out there. And we'll have some handouts that you can talk to your students about this person. And I'm really, really excited about it to kick off the first one. Also, at the end of each episode, stay tuned because I'll be recapping some breakthroughs in science and engineering that have happened this previous week. So I think that will be great. We always talk about highlighting real world STEM in classrooms. And I realize that it's really hard to get those connections sometimes. So we want to make sure we provide those as
Yeah,
well.
I love
Yeah.
it. I'm excited. So who's our first spotlight?
Well, I don't know if you can hear very well, but I'm going to do something over here off
Uh-oh.
screen, and I want to see if you can tell me what you're hearing.
Oh no.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, listen. Did you hear it?
Barely. It
I'll
was
do
like you dropped something. Are you tap dancing?
it. No. No, you definitely hear a crash after that if I were tap dancing.
You were slamming a drawer. I don't know.
Oh, that's close. It's getting there.
You could do it louder. Is that a pot? Is that your trash can?
It is a trash can. But be more specific. What kind of trash can is this?
It was the ones that you step on and they open.
Yeah, it's a step trash can. Which
I would
took me a
never have
while.
guessed that. Wouldn't.
You wouldn't have guessed that. Do you have one in your house?
I have 3.
Oh, okay. Do you have some that are not step trash cans in your house?
I do.
Out of curiosity, why?
It's the one that's in my kitchen that you open the drawer and you drop everything in and then you close it.
Okay. That makes sense. Mhm. So we're talking today about the person who invented these.
Oh,
So are you ready?
I'm ready.
The
I like
year
how I was being judged for
is
having a trash can that wasn't a step trash can.
wasn't a judgment, it was a curiosity.
Oh, okay.
Because this is because I was going to do this and I was like, oh, it'd be fun to listen to it, see if you can guess what it is. I only have 2 of them in my house. And so I was thinking about myself, like, why do I not have more of these? Yes. And how did this come about? Like trying to get into this person's head of how they figured out this would be really helpful.
Okay, let's hear who it is.
There's the stage. All right. So have you ever heard of Lillian Gilbreth?
Yes, I don't know who that is, but it's so familiar.
It's probably because I talked to you about it before, because I did a project on her when I was in grad school.
Okay.
Maybe you remember it. That was a test to see if you remembered things I've rambled on about before during grad school. So she lived from 1878 to 1972, and she was an engineer, a psychologist, and a professor at a time when very few women were allowed in those spaces at all. She's considered as one of the first industrial engineers and a pioneer of what we now call ergonomics. So she designed tools and systems that fit the way people actually move and think. Normally, when I think of ergonomics, I'm thinking like how you sit at the computer. Did you ever
Yeah,
have to do that test or something during keyboarding? How's your
right.
ergonomics? So this is like broader scale than that. How we use things every day, how your whole approach to living is improved by ergonomics. So one of her most interesting contributions was something called the Therblig. And that name sounds really weird, but it's actually her last name, Gilbreth, almost spelled backwards.
Oh,
So Therbligs were a set of basic human motions like reaching, grasping, holding, moving, and releasing. And Lillian and her husband, Frank, broke down everyday tasks into these tiny motions so they could study which ones were necessary and which ones were inefficient. So they could figure out which steps could they eliminate completely by coming up with an innovation like the step trash can.
hmm.
So instead of forcing someone to bend down, reach, grab a lid, lift it, and then let it fall shut, which is multiple Therbligs, Gilbreth designed her design reduced the task to a single simple motion, stepping on a pedal. So fewer movements, less effort, better hygiene. That's what Therbligs do.
Is this like a legit word? Like, is
Yeah,
this a
you can look
scientific
it
way?
up.
Okay, I will.
Therblig, she came up with it. Yep. So this way of thinking, analyzing how many steps a task really takes and redesigning it to be easier was obviously revolutionary. Lillian believed engineering wasn't just about machines or factories, it was about people. She used the same motion study, her ideas, to improve kitchens. She created the shelves that are in refrigerators. I guess refrigerators didn't have shelves back then,
What?
which I'm like, how did
They would
that even
just
work?
stack it?
I don't know. I want to
Hmm.
see pictures of this. So yeah, she invented that. Um, and she improved workplaces and household tools. And then she ended up holding more than 20 patents with the inventions that she came up with, just by listing out the Therbligs that it took to do something and then figuring out what she could remove. Isn't that cool?
That is very
So
cool.
you might have also heard her name through Cheaper by the Dozen. Have you seen that movie? I think there's been several remakes.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
So that book was written by her children and focused on
Huh.
her role as a mother. So she's the mom in Cheaper
What?
by the Dozen. She had like 12 kids. Uh, yeah, but it never talks about her influence as an engineer and a scientist in those movies ever,
That's
which is
wild. No
crazy.
wonder she needed things to be efficient with
Right?
12 kids.
Yes. So the next time that you step on a trash can pedal and the lid pops open, remember that's what's really happening. You're seeing ergonomics, psychology, and how we interact with things, and engineering. You're seeing the Therbligs reduced to their simplest form, and you're seeing the legacy of Lillian Moller Gilbreth, an engineer who proved that even the smallest design changes can make everyday life better. So, in other words, her ideas weren't trash at all. They were
No.
step by step genius.
Oh my goodness. Love it.
And yes, my stories will always have a really cheesy ending. So, yeah, pretty cool lady to be able to do all these things. So, I put together it's 2 page, a front and back, if you're going to print it out for your students, a little snippet about her life. And then students can actually break down some sort of process. So, they have to come up with some sort of task and describe it and how they use an object or how they do something, and then actually break it down in the Therbligs. So figure out how would you describe this motion and then figure out how way to improve it by removing things. So if you look up Therbligs, it's broken down into things that are effective and movements that are inefficient. So as you're writing down tasks, you can actually see, oh, this is an inefficient word like hold or rest or position or select. Those are all inefficient tasks because
Mm,
you could probably remove those by having something pre-selected, or instead of holding, it can already be in a position where it needs to be. So your students perhaps can come up with a better way or an innovation related to removing inefficiencies in everyday tasks with
Okay,
Therbligs.
so I have a question to make sure I understand this concept.
Yeah.
So I've seen people have these like little switchboards for their computers to simplify tasks. Like if you want to open up a certain browser at a certain place, you can like have a button for it. And so it just like does that function that would normally take you like 5 different clicks, or like swiping to a different desktop, or playing, I don't know, Lady Gaga Poker Face at 9 a.m. Like instead of you having to go put those steps in, it like is one button.
Yes,
Cool.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, there's so much to do with technology now that obviously didn't exist when she was doing things. So there's probably a lot, yeah, more effective ways to do things utilizing technology. I mean, AI think, has done a lot of that as well. We use that for everything. I don't open cookbooks. I just open up ChatGPT and ask it what to make with with the food that is in my fridge. So yeah, yeah, pretty cool.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, speaking of engineering and science, we just went to the SEEC conference.
Good transition there. Space is related to everything.
It really is. Yeah. So what were your takeaways from SEEC? You want to explain some things that we did?
So we were calculating, this was my 12th year at SEEC, Space Exploration Educators Conference at NASA Space Center Houston. Absolutely recommend. This year there were about 600 attendees. So it is a smaller conference in that you can just get to meet so many people, and there's such a great community, but there's incredible sessions. Like we have listened to some of the best activities and hearing from real world experts. Like people at NASA are at this conference presenting alongside educators. So I think that's why you and I especially love it. This is your 8th year? Where are we at?
I can't remember if it was my 9th or 10th. I don't know
Okay.
if I took a break in there somewhere when I had a baby. I don't remember.
Right. Yeah, that
Somewhere around
counts.
there.
And then it looks like a lot of it is virtual now. So if you can't get to Houston, you can still virtually join. But yeah, this was a really great year. I spent a lot of time in the exhibit hall. So this is a newer part of SEEC where they have all these different organizations about space exploration. So getting to meet all these people that came through and to learn about Vilify and the work that we're doing. And then I loved our session because I got to learn what Claire has been up to. And I got to be a student. And
Yeah,
so
you
we've been
participated.
working on the Titan, the side quest curriculum in partnership with Cosmic Leap, which is going to be one of our new Space Club missions. So there's Moon and Mars, and now there's Titan. And I've been so busy that Claire's been taking the lead on this. So I was like, I'm going to sit in the front row and get to build this like landing device. And then we had a relay tower. That was my favorite because I remember it as an idea and thinking it was so cool, but not sure how it was actually going to work out. But then getting to experience it with all the teachers was really fun.
I was so impressed at how the teachers were able to tackle it because there's 4 missions in this Titan curriculum, and each of the missions has a science component and an engineering design challenge that utilizes what you learn from the science to your build. And we did 3 of the 4 lessons in 90 minutes. And I was like, I don't know how we're going to cram all this in. I've never done this with a classroom before, actually. So,
Yep.
and these teachers, they understood it, they picked it up, they knocked it out, and everybody's design worked, which was so impressive. And everything looked different. All of the towers. So part of that mission that you were referencing is where there's a relay boost tower that they have to build on a frozen lake that's, an icy lake. It's not frozen. There's liquid hydrocarbons that are on the northern pole of Titan, which is one of Saturn's moons. And we need to build a relay tower to boost the signal from the rotorcraft that we have flying around on Titan, which relates to the actual NASA mission of the Dragonfly rotorcraft that will be sent to Titan and fly around and make some really cool observations that we're going to learn about this ocean world. And anyway, it was amazing to see students and yourself create towers that could float on the surface of this water and is over a foot tall and has a LED light at the top.
I realized that I didn't get the final message because you kicked the storyline off with like it was trying to send a message, but it was like only pieces of it and then half the image. So in the end, are students going to get the final like decoded message?
So it's in the middle, and I think you were really focused on defeating Chad in the mission that we were in,
Probably
that
was.
maybe you missed it. But yeah, in the middle, once you land on the surface of Titan, so you build a landing pad that's visual through the thick haze that is the atmosphere of Titan. Once you land and meet up with the rotorcraft, it's able to communicate with you and shares the picture
Okay.
of where we're going to
Okay.
be searching for life, which is on that icy ocean in the
Very cool.
northern. So that's when you build the relay tower after you figure out, oh, it's showing me where we should build this relay tower.
Love it.
Mm.
And by the way, this is all free. So this is going to be available for free in the Cosmic portal. So we can link the information there. But I'm really excited because it's in the pilot phase right now. And this was like our second round of piloting with teachers. And it should be released soon. What was your favorite part of the conference or that session?
That session was amazing, getting to see everything come together and that it all went well and that teachers were excited about using it. That was definitely a highlight. But there's, like you said, so many great sessions and connections that are made. There's some really neat organizations that want to help teachers specifically get resources about space exploration. So Space for Teachers is a really great one, and we'll put links to all the things in our show notes, but that's a good resource to get access to all sorts of curriculum and things that you can bring into your classroom and help your students get connected with space exploration, but it caters towards teachers and helping teachers. And then I went to one session that was run by Blue Origin. They have a really great educational piece of their company with some great resources there. And one of the speakers was also in that session was also Amy Medina, who's a astronaut that flew with Blue Origin, and she's a classroom teacher and was sharing some things that she's done in her classroom. And one of those things that she shared, which is free, available to you as well, is she has compiled some, well, there's lunar rock samples that NASA has from the Apollo missions.
Yeah.
So she took those at NASA and did 3D scans of them. And so there's 3D files where you can print with a 3D printer the replicas of real lunar rocks that
So
were
cool.
collected from Apollo, which is amazing. And then she created a resource that describes each one of the rocks and has pictures of them. So you can 3D print and then paint it if you want to look exactly like the lunar samples. And then you can do some activities with your students about these. So one that we did in our session was that she hid these samples in some sand in like a kiddie pool. And then you had to build a robotic arm to go collect them as if you were on the moon, maybe having piloting a rover to go collect these rock samples. So that was really cool. Or she said one thing that she's done is she'll have one student on one side of the classroom, like where you can't see, it's the student's partner, and they'll have a rock sample and they have to describe it to their partner, and their partner has to figure out what rock sample is it. So it's as if the astronauts talking to mission control or some scientists in mission control describing a rock sample, and they have to figure out, well, which one is it? What's it made out of?
Cool.
Based on these cards that she's made. So we'll provide those links to those things for you in our show notes, but some really great resources. And it's so exciting to be a part of this community of educators excited about space.
And if you end up ever coming to this conference, you can find us in a secret karaoke session at the banquet. We will not tell you where it is, but
That's right. And even if they don't have karaoke, we will have karaoke,
we
which
will
is what
make it
happened at
happen.
this one. All you need is some words on a screen, right?
That's
Yep.
right. but
Mhm.
you're just inspired by being in this really cool lunar exhibit and all this space history around you with really passionate educators from around the world. Yeah, we make
Yeah,
it happen.
that's right. Well, I hope that that inspires you to join us maybe next year. It's always the beginning of February at this SEEC conference. There's scholarships available, and you can convince your administrators that it's an absolute must-have to go to this conference and be around some like-minded educators and get some fabulous resources to bring back to your classroom. But for now, STEM Space out.